3 times. 4 times. Doing gang things, living super clean. That done came up. Can't control us. 1 time for the men doing cane thing. Dead fresh to the T, living super clean. 3 times for my folk that done came up. 4 times cause the man can't control us. 1 time for the men doing cane thing. Dead fresh to the T, living super clean. 3 times for my folk that done came up. 4 times cause the man can't control us. Look at you done came up now. Get it how you live, mess the game up now. Ain't messing with yoga, but get the flame up. Hey, used to be Toby, but got your name back now. I see ya, paid under pressure. 25 lighters, got them all on the dresser. If it ain't for you, ain't for you then. If you a lame or a sucker, wanna dress you then. Grown up now, bump the childish ways. Got a wife and a bunch of kids to raise. Punch a clock side hustle or a business you endure to ensure that all the bills is paid. Slow clap for your homeboy, could've turned out like your homeboy. Been on the same block, cooking up the same rock on the cell block lot with your homeboy. But no, you had vision, you had goal. Brand new you on the old time road, take care. Home where you bust your low. Black men don't teach, screaming bond these hoes. Real men talk, real king ways. Still in captivity, but minds ain't slave. Got a little wisdom, boy, you PD grade. Giving out the knowledge on the stoop these days. 1 time for the men doing cane thing. Dead fresh to the T, living super clean. 3 times for my folk that done came up. 4 times cause the man can't control up. 1 time for the men doing cane thing. Dead fresh to the T, living super clean. 3 times for my folk that done came up. 4 times cause the man can't control up. 1 time for the folk that have moved up. Even if you had a slow start screwed up. Used to gang bang, now homie brewed up. Had a little plan, I had them blew up. Look at you like a man right now. Dressed to the T, smelling like a grand right now. And you ain't got nothing from a handout now. Just faith and hard work gets it planned out now. You could've took a bunch of dusty rolls. The hand dealt with a bunch of cards to fold. To stay hot while the world is freezing cold. The same plot, but the story's never old. Slow clap for your kinfolk. Could've been asking what your info. Prosecutor could be trying to do you in for the 2020 twin, so you passing out the info. But no, you had purpose, you had plans. I ain't throwing nothing, I'ma say these bands won't impress y'all, don't need no fans. That ain't my God, who is that man? This real men talk, real king ways. Still in captivity, but minds ain't slave. Got a little wisdom, boy, you peep these grades. Giving out the knowledge on the stoop these days. 1 time for the men doing cane thing. Dead fresh to the T, living super clean. 3 times for my folk that done came up. 4 times cause the man can't control up. 1 time for the men doing cane thing. Dead fresh to the T, living super clean. 3 times for my folk that done came up. 4 times cause the man can't control up. Yeah, real man. Sheesh. Yeah. Doing cane things. Living super clean. That done came up.
1 time for my king doing king things. Mom these hoes cause he know he got a good thing. I submit and I cook and I clean and I never hold back on that wop, I'ma let it rain. Made me honest, I got a ring. All praises to the most high, let it sing. A real man able, sister never came. And I ain't going nowhere, this is not a game. Look at you, girl, you lonely right now. Settling for bums instead of men the most high. He provide and protect so he get our respect. And he leading us aboard when them chariots fly. I don't really think you hear me though. You can't cross this bridge on some billy goats. Let them save you in the end like a Seminole. BS help me, shout let the silly go.
1 time for the men doing cane thing. Dead fresh to the T, living super clean. 3 times for my folk that done came up. 4 times cause the man can't control up. 1 time for the men doing cane thing. Dead fresh to the T, living super clean. 3 times for my folk that done came up. 4 times cause the man can't control up. Living super clean. That it came up.
1 time for my king doing king things. Mom these hoes cause he know he got a good thing. I submit.
Tune in to Why Boaz Don't Want Your Ass with your host, Miss Mono.
Shalom and shalom, sisters and cousins and praise the Lord, saints. It's your favorite housewife, Miss Mono.
Every Thursday from 8 to 10 p.m. Live on YouTube at Miss Mono's World and Monologue Magad. Now also available on the Saya TV on Roku and Fire Stick. Why Boaz don't want your ass? Don't miss it, sisters and cousins.
I'm save you in the end like a Seminole. BS help me, shout let the silly go.
One time for the men doing gang thing. Dead Fred to the T.
Shalom and shalom, sisters and cousins, and praise the Lord, saints. It's your favorite housewife, Miss Mono. Please forgive me. That was my bad, you guys. I am trying to hook up my live on the TikTok. There we go. Okay. How are y'all? All praises to the Most High. Thank y'all for being with me. Miss Diamond Balloon Affairs. Hello. How are you? Thank y'all for being with me this evening. I know I might have been like a few seconds late, right? Y'all was like, dang, she played the whole song tonight. You hear me? Okay, great. Y'all probably like, dang, she played the whole song tonight. I did. That's my bad. That is my bad. And it's totally my bad, right? Because my husband did help me get myself together. Shout out to him and all the good husbands everywhere. My husband did help me get my stuff together, but you know, that ain't gonna stop me from being late. So like, share, subscribe, turn on your notifications so you know when we go live here at the House of Mono, whether you're joining us from Facebook, YouTube. Shout out to my audience on the Saya TV. Thank you so much for hanging out with me this evening. I hope that you all are doing well, that everybody had a great day and stuff. All praise to the Most High for us being here, right? Give folks a few more minutes to jump in. But it is warm. Did anybody else feel like this fall, is a little different? Like it's just warm and seem like the leaves aren't changing and falling like they usually would this time of year. You know what I'm saying? Who knows? Who knows what's going on these days? But so I saw something on Facebook. And I literally just saw it today. And I was like, oh, that sounds like something we could discuss. And it's about Shawnee. You see it too? Okay, thank you. Because I'm just like, what is going on? There's a bush in front of our house that is actually blooming right now. And I mean, we've been in this house going on 3 years. And I can honestly say I don't remember seeing this bush bloom in the fall. I don't know. Could be me. Could be me. What was I saying? Oh, okay. So yeah. So there was this post on Facebook. Well, before I get into that, let me do my preliminaries and all my shout outs. I'm so sorry. I'm all out of order. Because first and foremost, all praises to the Most High. For him, for his son, for his sacrifice. I mean, just for being here, for being in the land of the living, y'all. I don't take it for granted. I hope you don't either. And then right after that, I have to shout out my husband, the head of my household, the love of my life, the man who makes it all possible, Monologue with Dad, ladies and gentlemen. Please, if you are not following him on your socials, please follow him on your socials, Facebook, TikTok, Instagram. No, he don't be on TikTok like that. That'd be me. Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. We're trying to get our subscribers up on YouTube. So if you're not subscribed to the Monologue Magad channel, please go ahead and click that little bell. Go ahead and hit the thumbs up while you're there. Also, if you don't know, it's your first time here, maybe you forgot, I am at Miss Mono's World on all of your socials, your IGs, your TikTok, your Facebook. I have a YouTube channel, but we're not really focused on that one right now. We're trying to build up the Monologue McGad channel. So if you are watching me on Miss Mono's World, like, share, and subscribe to the Monologue McGad channel as well. Please, if you have not already, download the Nasaya TV app. It is available on your smart TVs, your Rokus, your Fire Sticks, your Apple TVs. The Nasaya TV app. If you cannot get to a TV, but you're online, Nasaya.tv. You can see me live every Thursday, and you also go back and watch past episodes. And in advance, I would like to thank you if you've given, if you felt moved to financially sow into the House of Mono. We want to thank you in advance, and also thank you for those who have given. If you feel led to, you can head to the Cash App, $ the House of Mono. All right, so the main topic is for tonight. Where's my thing? Sorry, y'all. Our main topic for tonight is going to be, what did I call it? Something about quiet. I'm sorry, I forgot the power of quiet. That's what I called it. I'm sorry, I don't have a thing here in front of me, and I have forgot. But yeah, so our main topic tonight is going to be the power of quiet. Please, y'all, don't be shy to jump in the conversation, whether you're on TikTok, you're watching me on YouTube, or Instagram, Facebook, wherever you're watching, jump in the conversation. I'd love to have your input. Okay, so before we get into our main topic, though, I want to talk about this post I saw on Facebook, all right? And the post was about Shawnee O'Neal. Just in case you don't know who she is, that's Shaquille O'Neal's ex-wife. She is currently the creator, executive producer, or whatever, of a show called Basketball Wives. And it is your typical reality show, bunch of women getting together. I don't know why they call themselves wives. I think only one of them is actually married to a basketball player. But anyway, it's your typical reality show. You have the gossip, the slander, things that go on reality TV, right? And Shawnee has recently married a pastor. I don't know, about his church. I didn't look it up or anything like that. But she's recently married a pastor. And the post was kind of coming at her because they were like, well, why would she still be doing Basketball Wives and be a first lady? And I'm not going to lie and say this thought hasn't crossed my mind multiple times, because it has, okay? I grew up in Black church, all right? And in Black church, the first lady was someone you aspired to be. Like, she was demure, she was quiet. All praises. The first lady I grew up under was beautiful. She kept herself looking good. Like, if y'all know Lady Young, she don't play. You will see her walking, and she does not play about it, okay? So, this is a godly woman, a woman who was exemplifying the type of lifestyle that you as a godly woman should aspire to, right? She's the example for the women of the church. This was what the first lady was. So now you have a woman being presented as a first lady, who is currently making an income off of displaying some of the worst behavior that Black women have to offer. I'm going to go ahead and say it. And I don't even have to go back far. We don't have to go back to season 1, season 2. We can go to yesterday. When did the show come on? Monday? It come on Monday nights? We can go to Monday night, okay? And so, they're trying to come down on her, but I don't feel like it's her fault. And I'm going to tell you why. First of all, that man was the pastor. He asked her to marry him, knowing that he was a pastor, knowing what that responsibility entailed, and still chose to marry her, knowing what she was doing with her life. Okay? So I'm just saying, if anybody should be asking any questions or pointing any fingers, it shouldn't be at her. It should be at him. She asked him, he asked her to the party. He didn't come to her party. She came to his. And he chose this woman to be his first lady. This is the woman that he chose to sit in front of his congregation and say, yes, this is the first lady. This is who you should aspire to. And so all I'm saying is if the beef is about that, then the beef is not with her. The beef is with him. That's just my little 2 cents. Just my little 2 cents there. So I'm trying to think, was there anything else? Because the news is just moving so fast. Guys, okay, so we did plant our fall garden, okay? I have not posted the video from that yet, but I will probably post it tomorrow. But it's all planted up. The little mini farm is in action. It is moving right along. Excited for you guys to see it. Once I post it, of course. I know, it's my fault for not posting it. Hold on 1 second. Let me just check something here. Nope. Yep, that works. Okay. Okay. Sorry, just getting my gadgets all together. All right, so yeah, I mean, how would it not be his fault? How is it not his fault? I don't even understand how they're like trying to blame her. It's not like she she never presented herself anything other than she is. And, I hate to say it, but it's like, how can you look at that situation and not see how he benefits from that more than she does? And maybe that's why he allowed it. I mean, think about how many new followers he gained because of her. How many people are watching him now because of her? You know what I'm saying? So, more questions. I mean, if you really want to get into it, more questions. But not to her. Like, this isn't, what can you say about her? This isn't her fault. You can't really say that she just, threw herself into it. It was already there. So, and he knew what he was signing her up for. Okay, so, it is what it is. All right, so on to our main topic, because I don't really have any other fluff stories. I did want to say this. And I said this before. I think I might have said it like last week or something. But I've just been feeling led to simplify lately. Like, just simplify, not do so much not extravagant. Maybe that's the wrong word. Not do so much unnecessary shopping. Let me say that. And it could be because of what we're going through right now, with the dollar and the economy and just everything that's going on in the world right now. But I really and don't get me wrong, like, I love watching the clean creators on TikTok, the creators that clean on TikTok. I love watching their stuff, right? It's kind of therapeutic, and it does kind of inspire me to, take my cleaning to the next level, whatever. But what I don't like about it is I don't like that they're constantly pushing new products in our face. Like, in order for your house to be clean, you have to have this. And in order for your house to be clean, you have to have that. And I just don't like that. I feel like my house can be clean with the tools that I have right here. A broom, a mop, a sponge, some dish detergent, some bleach if you're feeling fancy. I like to use bleach or whatever. But they're always coming up with these new gadgets and gizmos. And honestly, it's like you'll be forever buying something trying to create this aesthetic look that they all seem to have. And I'm just like, in this day and time that we're living in, when people are, there was a news clip or whatever, and they had multiple people saying that they've made the most money that they've ever made in their lives, but they're broker than they've ever been. Okay? And I know that sounds totally backwards, but in this day of inflation and everything else, I totally get it. They're making the most money they've ever made, meaning their income is great. But everything costs so freaking much now that you don't have any disposable income left. You're just constantly paying for your needs. And so if we know that this is the kind of world that we live in, maybe we should stop pushing that on others. You understand what I'm saying? Stop pushing that aesthetic on others. And, you know, some people might be like, oh, well, it's just my life. That's how I live. I find that hard to believe if you have an Amazon storefront set up and every gadget you happen to own just happens to be on your Amazon storefront or just happens to be in the TikTok shop. Like, you're literally doing their job for them, which is fine. Which is fine. If, you know, if you want to do that, I just feel like that's not cool. Like, in this day and time, in the economy that we're in. You know what I'm saying? Like, share, subscribe, turn on your notifications so you know when we go live here at the House of Mono. Let's get into our main topic, the power of quiet. That's what we're going to talk about. And of course, as always, I'm going to attack this from multiple angles. But the power of quiet. All right. And I know, you know, a lot of women don't like to hear that word quiet. Why do I have to be quiet? What do you mean? I don't have to live like that anymore. And I'm here to tell you that as a woman, there's more strength in your silence than there is in your loudness. Oftentimes when we as women are feeling disrespected, subjected, whatever the case, whatever unpleasant feeling we are feeling, we are often told and led by this world that we should express those feelings and we shouldn't hide them and don't let the patriarchy oppress you another second, right? We're getting all these pro-feminist messages. And please understand, I'm not saying to let anyone oppress you. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about really when we just find ourselves in dilemmas in life, whether it's a conflict at work, a conflict at school, a conflict with our spouse, even if we're having a moment with our kids and they are just frustrating the heck out of us and getting on our nerves. I heard a long time ago that anger is the default emotion, and we just need to find out what the real feeling is. And a lot of times our anger is covering up frustration, right? And the fact of the matter is we may not even be frustrated at the people or the thing that's in front of us that we're dealing with, right? Like, I have a 5-year-old. And my 5-year-old is very much in love with hot chocolate. He wants to drink hot chocolate every day, and he feels like hot chocolate is just essential to his life. And he does not care what I'm doing when he comes to ask for this hot chocolate. He doesn't care. I could be cleaning, mopping, switching laundry, cooking. He doesn't care. When he wants his hot chocolate, he's going to ask for his hot chocolate. Not only is he going to ask for it, but he's going to ask for it multiple times, right? And like today, I can admit I got a little frustrated with him because I'm trying to clean and he kept asking me for the hot chocolate. But the fact of the matter is, I wasn't frustrated with him asking for the hot chocolate. I was really frustrated with all the cleaning that I had to do, and I wanted to just be able to focus on my cleaning, right? But here he come asking me for hot chocolate. And the way a lot of us grew up, that would have been met with anger, with yelling. Sit down and shut up. I'll get it when I can get it. Leave me alone right now. Don't you see me doing something else? You know, any number of things. But as a parent who is relearning how to parent, and what do I mean by relearning how to parent? I have come to the conclusion that, and I don't think this is a far-fetched conclusion, I think y'all would agree, that I'm trying to move things out the way, that we in this generation here were not necessarily taught how to be hands-on parents, okay? What do I mean by that? We were taught to have children, keep them home for 6 weeks, send them off to daycare, and then try to fit them around a career. We were not taught that our family is our first priority. I mean, sure, they say it. Sure, they try to make it sound good. But is your family really your first priority? Think about the way that we are programmed and conditioned to think that our life should be scheduled. It's to the point where you get stressed out working an 8, 10, 12-hour day, and instead of the move being, let's figure out how to cut down on some of this so people don't need to work so many hours, they will try to get you to figure out how you can manage to carve time for your family around your career. Because think about what you're taught about family, right? You're taught that, oh, we're all supposed to sit down for dinner together to catch up on the day. But the fact of the matter is, if the mom was at home when the kids came home from school, then we wouldn't all have to sit down. The mom is there to know what's going on. Even better, if the kids are homeschooled, then bam, they there with mom all day anyway. We don't have to have these extensive family dinners and try to unpack an 8, 10-hour day for 3, 4, however many people you have in your family, and try to make every kid feel included when we only really have an hour to sit down because daddy just came home, mommy just came home. They're both tired anyway, so who's really paying attention? I mean, let's just keep it real. Who's really paying attention? We're all exhausted. Mom's looking at her clock like, dang, I got to clean up after this. I still got to give everybody their baths and their showers. I got to get to bed. We have a nation full of people who are stressed out, burnt out, full of anxiety and full of fear. And instead of the nation or instead of the leaders of the economy or whatever trying to figure out, okay, let's employ some more people. Let's break up some of these shifts. Let's increase salaries so people don't have to work so much. Instead of that, they'll tell you that on top of working an 8, 10, 12-hour day, if you want time for yourself, you need to figure out how to wake up earlier than you have to wake up already. Think about what they tell you. There's no push for corporations to be more personable, more humanitarian, more family friendly. The push is for you as a person to figure out how to maintain some kind of inkling, some kind of hint of wellness, because we don't want you coming in here pew-pewing up the place, if you know what I'm saying. But no, even if you have to be up before the butt crack of dawn and get to work on time, you need to wake up just a little bit earlier. They'll sit here and tell you, oh, in order to be healthy, you need to exercise for 30 minutes a day, at least 3 times a week. But where are you supposed to do that at? Because now I have to take more time away from my family. Abba, I hope I'm saying your name right. Shalom, shalom. Thank you for joining me. Abba, Righteous Nation. Now I have to take away more time from my family. And then guess what? When your kid starts acting up, when your kids start acting out because of the neglect, then all of a sudden it's your fault again. And so what I'm saying is we have not been taught how to be full-time hands-on family members, period. I remember when the argument was going on, and I might be aging myself here because this was back in like the 80s and 90s. I remember when the argument was going on for corporations to have the same rights as people. What do you mean by that? As a person, as a citizen in this here country, you are supposedly guaranteed the right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, right? This is what they say. Basically meaning you have a right to live your life and to, have an income, have a decent living, as long as you're not hurting anyone else, blah, 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 blah. Well, they decided that corporations have these same rights as well to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, right? Which means that these corporations have the same right as we humans to pursue the things that will give it the quality of life that it desires. Because that's our right as people, right? You have a right to get the education that they say that you need if you want to take one of their careers. You have a right to do that. You have a right to work. You have a right to make an income. Well, guess what? A long time ago, they decided that these corporations have those same rights. But in order for a corporation to exercise that right, it comes on the back of the people. Because think about it. I, as a single human entity, am one person. I have to pursue life, liberty, and happiness for myself. I don't have the power as one single person to hire a workforce to pursue this for me. That's called slavery. But what we've allowed is, not we, but what our government has allowed is for the corporation and by that its owners to feel that they have these same rights even when it comes on the backs of other people. If that makes sense what I'm saying. The woman right movement was the worst movement that could have ever happened. Absolutely. And let me just say, I'm not against women having the same rights as life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness. But the problem comes in when women want equal rights to men. Not equal rights. That's not the right word. When they want to be viewed as equal. That's the right word, because we all have rights. Peace, life, liberty, all that good stuff. Yes, we have those rights to be protected, to be safe. Yes, we do. The problem is when women want to be viewed equal to men in every area. That's the problem. And it's led us to the position that we're in right now. We have to understand that the feminist movement was only done to add more bodies to the workplace. I was watching a documentary not too long ago, and it was talking about how during World War II, before World War II, women were housewives. You barely heard of especially a married woman having a job. You may have had single women who were working in like secretarial positions or stuff like that. But a married woman having a job was nearly unheard of, okay? Enter World War II, the majority of the men are deployed off to the war. Now we need women to enter the workplace to keep the government running and also to supply the war efforts, okay? So now you have women leaving the home and coming into the workforce. Well, after the war, all the men are back. And so what did they do? They start propagating the women to go back home because I'm home now. I need my meals cooked. I need my house clean. I can't have my woman at work all day. You don't need to make bombs and bullets and everything else. The war's over, girl. Get your butt back in the house. So this is when you start seeing a push again for women to return back into the home. Okay. Time goes on, things come, we're up after World War II. The economy is up, everybody's doing well. You know what I'm saying? Things start coming back down, and now we have the push to get women back out of the house again. There was a time period, I'm trying to remember when it was, and I think it was at the beginning of World War II, if I'm correct. Brew News, the light, shalom and shalom, Sister Delta. That's my good sis over there. I think it was at the beginning of World War II when some states had forbidden black women to be housewives. A black woman was not allowed to be a housewife. She had to be out working. And that was because white women needed black women to come and clean their homes for them. Okay? And how dare they be able to stay at home and take care of their families? You know how they look at us. Okay, but so the economy starts doing bad. We need more corporate growth. Let's get the women. What? I didn't know that. They invented pacifiers during that movement. Men didn't know how to soothe the babies. I had no idea. And that sounds about right, because here from formula and everything else. That sounds about right. So, okay, the economy's doing its thing. We need women in the workplace, okay? And so this feminist movement is geared up again. I can do anything a man can do, right? But here's the thing. When you have everybody doing the same thing, nothing is really getting done. If you ever heard about, you looked up why they wasn't, I'm going to have to look that up. That sounds like a very interesting story. Did a man invent the pacifier? Because if he did, that is so funny. What was I saying? Oh, I forgot. That pacifier thing really got me. So yeah, okay. So if you've ever studied Henry Ford and how he introduced specialization, when he started the first Ford factories, he had one man for one job. A man did. You know what? That is hilarious. That's hilarious. So when Henry Ford starts building the Ford factory, right, he introduces a thing called specialization. One person does one thing. One person turns this screw. Another person turns that screw. Another person. One person had each specific job. And I don't understand how we can see this model work so well in corporate America, but not be willing to apply the same model to our homes. Okay, and so this is what I'm saying. We were never taught how to be full-time parents. I know I didn't see that. The first woman I remember meeting that was a real life housewife was Timona. I met her when we was living in Laurel Valley, and she lived across the hall from us. We was living in an apartment. She lived across the hall from us. She was a housewife, but she also ran a daycare. And this is the first black lady I have seen, be a housewife, because there were plenty of them in Germany when I was growing up. It wasn't odd to see a white woman staying at home. But even when my dad was in the military, my mom worked full time. Okay, so I'm a teenager. I'm like 14, 15 when I met her. And this is just like, oh my gosh, this lady's not going to work. She's staying home. This is like a whole new world to me. Okay, but even imagine never seeing that growing up. Or even just the simple fact of never seeing your mom in that position. All I know from my mom is get up and go to work. Get up and go to work to pay the bills and make it happen. Okay, my life is totally different from that. My life is a total 180 from my mother's. And it just occurred to me, like, we just are not really prepared. It's like everything that was old is new again. And what do I mean by it's new again? And I'm probably going off topic here, but I'm gonna circle back. I'm gonna circle back if the Most High say the same. What's old is new again. What do I mean by that? Well, come on. Let's look back at, Reconstruction period when Black people were free from slavery. We're establishing ourselves. It's been years since the war. This was before Jim Crow, when we actually had the opportunity to go out there and make something for ourselves, okay? And so now at this time, you have women being full-time wives, full-time mothers, being homemakers, educating their children, building their communities, doing the things that a housewife does. Even as a person who grows food, it is so not annoying. And I don't know if anger, it does cause me some anger. Trying to find the right word, because it is just a deep down it's a deep down disgust. It's a deep down anger when I think about the fact that my people knew how to grow their own food. We came and grew food and everything else for the entire country. My people at one time knew how to grow food out of anything. I have Southern and Northern Kingdom roots, okay? So for me to now be in 2023 and having to start over from scratch, trying to figure out how to condition the soil and how to maintain the food and keep the animals away and keep things growing, it just baffles my mind that here I am having to learn all these things from scratch when generations of my family before me had this knowledge. So it's like we had this knowledge, we had this information. Not only did they come and force us to do it for them, but then they put us in such conditions that now we don't even know how to take care of ourselves. We are just learning how to be self-sufficient when our ancestors had food in their backyards. It was nothing. They had food. They had chickens, cows, and goats. Like, they had things. They were self-sufficient. There was no going to the grocery store. I mean, if you did, it was for something like flour or milk or something that you just could not make at home. Okay, but because of this country that we live in, all that's been stripped from us, right? Even down to the way we parent, even down to the way we conduct ourselves in marriage, right? And let me tell you one thing I hate about the feminist movement. I hate the fact that whenever anyone tries to argue for the feminist movement, they have to just go to the bowels of male behavior. They have to find the lowest, creepiest, most decrepit example of male behavior that they can find. And they try to make it seem like this is the majority of men exhibiting this behavior. And I just refuse to believe that when you look at the fact that before the civil rights movement, Black households were more intact than they are now. And see, this is what I don't like about movies like The Help, because they always going to show you a Black man acting up. They're always going to show you a Black man acting up. I'm trying to think of a movie set in that time that shows Black men in a positive light, right? Because you went from being a slave to being an abusive husband. This is what we see of the Black man, okay? And I'm here to call Cap. Okay, that is Cap. There are good Black men out there, but again, like we weren't taught how to be wives, they weren't taught how to be husbands. Just like we don't have fathers, neither do they. All right? And it's just even more infuriating again because now we have to relearn all of these things. And when you look at our counterparts from other backgrounds, they never lost their traditions. They never lost their customs. They never lost their teachings. They don't have generations of women having to work outside the home. I know people from Europe and the Asian continent, they come here, they have babies, and they will send their babies back to their moms on the Eurasian continent to not have to leave their kids here in daycare. We don't have that. There's no other place for us to send our kids. Most of our moms is still working. I know my mom is, and she's well in her 60s. She's still working. I can't have a baby and take the baby to my mom's house. I have to leave my child in the hands of the oppressor. And I know I'm not supposed to say that. And you might be like, oh, well, my child goes to a black daycare. Listen, this is not about black-owned businesses, but this is about the fact that nobody's going to care for your child the way you are. And I don't care how good that daycare is. If it's not a one-on-one, it's never going to be as good as it could be. If there's not one adult to every one child, your child is not going to get what they need all the time. I remember I took my youngest daughter to a daycare, and the lady let her sleep all day. Like, I went to pick her up, all the bottles was still full and everything, wasn't none of the diapers gone. I'm like, what is going on? She's like, oh, she was sleeping all day. Excuse me? You let an infant sleep all day? And now you hear stories of meth and fentanyl labs being ran in daycares, and kids are getting sick and dying from it. Who builds a meth lab in a daycare? Who in their right mind thinks that this is okay? You know, we all joke about, what movie was that? Next Friday, when they was talking about Baby D selling dope, doing hair, and baby sitting out the same house, and the cops don't never know when to kick the door in. Yeah, we laugh about that. But then when you find out that, no, they's really building meth and fentanyl labs in daycares, children are inhaling these substances and dying. Yes, recently. It's not a joke. That is not a joke. And listen, I'm not taking for granted the cost of living these days. It's hard, but this is a part of the problem. Okay? And so I want to urge us to come out of that. And what do I mean by come out of that? Listen, especially some of y'all that are married, you could make some sacrifices so that you could stay home if your husband will allow it. I'm not saying for you to go in there with a picket sign talking about, no. If your husband will allow it, if this is something that y'all have been discussing, or even if your husband has stated, listen, I would like you to, stay home with the kids, but you're just so determined that you got to work because you got to have this and you got to have that. I'm telling you, you don't got to have this and you don't got to have that. Oh, thank you, honey. You don't need all those things. You don't. There are kids that are getting left outside in daycare buses. I mean, things are going on. And so I want us to understand also, I want us to understand how the ideas, our imaginations, the standards that we set for ourselves can also have us in this position, right? Because it's like, oh, I can't be seen in nothing less than a 2023. I can't be seen in nothing less than a 2022. I gotta have this and I gotta have that and I gotta have a Louis bag and All my stuff got to be name brand. And I've said this before and I said it again. When you start acquiring real property, a home, some land, stuff that you can own, when you start owning your own businesses and you buying stuff for your business and you see how much that stuff costs and you realize, hold on, this is way more valuable than a piece of jewelry that I was looking at. Because guess what? Times get hard. I can resell this. I can't resell them sneakers. Times get hard. I can rent out a piece of my land. I can't do nothing with these sneakers. This bag ain't going to be good for nobody or nothing else. This is what you start to realize those things. But I'm telling you, as long as you keep spending money on little frivolous, stupid things, you'll never get to the point to be able to acquire homes and lands. Let me read this comment. The cost of living is no excuse. We can have a business at home or a store of our own. People need to believe in their self. Also, if women was pouring into the men with their full trust, you can build him to have enough money for family and My good sis said that. And that's another thing. Y'all, you want a man to already come prepared, fully packaged, income, manners, knows how to treat you, knows all the right words to say. And I'm telling you that you are living in a fantasy land. All right. People feel like, oh, we're going to get to know each other. We're going to make sure we're compatible. We're going to get married and everything's going to be fine. We're just going to live happily ever after. And I'm here to tell you that that is the furthest thing from the truth. For real, marriage is just the starting point of what is hopefully you two growing together. And the potential of your growth together is dependent on how you two want to pour into each other. But wives, I'm going to say, as the emotional component of this situation, as the one who's able to sense those things that maybe lie beneath the surface, it really is on you to set that tone. It's on you to get on your knees and pray for that man. Me and my husband, we do work from home and we own our own businesses. So we get up when we want to. Like, I don't have to set an alarm clock. I wake up when I'm ready. I usually try to wait till one of the boys get up because, as long as they sleep, I'm asleep too. So I usually try to wait till one of my boys wake up and then I'll, get up, start my day. We'll do breakfast if I cook, school, whatever, right? So here lately though, like I've been getting up to work out. And like one day I got up early and I worked out. And my husband got up and worked out too. He's like, well, if you up, I'm going to the gym too. Okay. So hear what I'm saying. Like sometimes, you as a woman set the tone in your relationship. Sometimes your man if your man is like my man, he gets focused. When my husband gets focused on an idea, or if it's something financial, or if it's something about business, like I kind of have to ring a bell, like, hello, I'm here. Hello, spend some time with me. Hello, date night me, something. Spend some time with the kids, take us swimming. I have to do this, but this is my job. This is what I'm supposed to be doing because he's doing his job. And instead of us realizing that it takes balance, because again, we have not been taught this. We haven't seen a mom and a dad have to balance and take care of a whole family, all right? So for some reason, we feel like our husband is just supposed to have all the answers. And listen, we love them. They're the head, yes, but they don't have all the answers. He's the head, not the whole body. And so a body without a head is horrible, but what good is a head without a body? Leah, shalom and shalom, sis. Hoping people ain't getting on your nerves over there. What good is a head without the body? You're just sitting there. You can't turn, you can't adjust. We have been so poisoned by this feminist movement that we have been led to believe that we have no value in the home, when the fact of the matter is, ma'am, sis, cousin, the majority of your value is in the home. You want to feel loved, you want to feel appreciated, that's where you're going to find it at home with your family. Jamila, shalom and shalom, thank you for joining me. You're going to find that value at home with your family. You're not going to get it from work. You're not going to get it from your boss. You're not going to get it from your coworkers. It doesn't matter how popular you are, how friendly you are, how much everyone loves you. All that is all well and good. But I'm telling you right now, the moment you get sick, they done with you. Sure, they might throw you a party on your birthday, and they gonna even throw you a party if you make it to retirement. They're gonna do all that good stuff. But as soon as you walk out that door, even maybe before you walk out the door, they've already started looking for your replacement. But guess where you can't be replaced? You can't be replaced. Even if, Yahweh forbid, you was to pass on before your husband. He may get another wife, but it won't be you. You cannot be replaced in your home. Your value, your love, your self-respect, your actualization, all the good things that we are supposed to develop and enjoy as we grow throughout life, I have to tell you, is going to be at home. Am I saying that staying at home is the end all be all, and as a woman you don't need anything else? I am not saying that at all. Trust me, there are days when I miss adult interaction, but it's not worth me getting up at the butt crack of dawn and freaking sitting in traffic and having somebody tell me when I can and can't pee for 8 or 10 hours to have adult interaction. Okay, I find it in other ways, is what I'm saying. So, not having been shown these things, Yahweh, shalom and shalom. Not having been shown these things, it can be kind of hard to get it. And look, it's hard living in this world and living set apart. Okay? Because everything something I read or something I was watching or something like that. And they said, King Connect, shalom and shalom. Thank you for joining me. It was saying that your first reaction or your first thought to a thing is what you've been conditioned to think. What do you mean by that? Okay. I come from a family that like to talk about folks. Right? Like, sit around and talk about folks. And I grew up like that. I grew up with things that were wrong with people being pointed out, right? And so I have to stop myself sometimes from continuing in that train of thought. I have to stop myself from the thing that is wrong with the person just being the first thing that I see and making a judgment after that. I had to retrain myself, and I still have to work on it sometimes, okay? So, but because of that, sometimes my first thought is not right, and I know that. And so, okay, hold on, what do I want to think? Where am I trying to go? How do I want to train my mind? A lot of y'all's first reaction when somebody says something you don't like, especially if it's your husband, somebody you feel safe with, your first reaction is often to go off. And I'm telling you that is the wrong reaction. Hear what I'm saying. Especially with your husband, that is the wrong reaction. Okay? The goal in a disagreement with your husband is not to win, so to say. The goal in a disagreement with your husband is to come to a place of peace. Right? I'm going to tell you right now, there's some stuff that me and my husband agree to disagree on. It's nothing major, all right? And let me be clear, my husband has the final say about what goes on in our house, okay? But just other little things, life things, whatever. We may not always agree on that. Okay, that's cool. I'm not about to go off. It ain't gonna be no yelling, arguing. And I'm not saying we always been like it. We've been married going on 10 years, okay? It has not always been this way. All right, the first few years of our marriage, baby, it used to be like the WWE. I mean, and it was mostly me, okay? It was mostly me. It was mostly me. Because not having been in a success, not having been in any successful relationship, not ever having been in any long-term relationship. To me, when there's a disagreement, oh, that's it. It's over. I'm done. I'm walking away. This is like the end. Right? But once my husband broke me out of that and convinced me that, listen, even if we argue, it doesn't mean that I'm leaving. Okay? We just had a little disagreement. You need to calm down. Like, once I figured that out, then it was a lot easier for me to stay in my place during a disagreement. I know. What do you mean stay in your place? Yes, stay in your place. Just like you want your husband to stay in the place of being a head, you have to stay in the place of being a wife. Even to my single sisters, y'all want these men to step up and take charge, but you growling and barking and yelling at him too. Why? A man offer to help you. You want to give him attitude. Well, of course you're going to be carrying your stuff all by yourself. Well, I can't get a man to do that for me because you won't shut up. Because you won't shut up. Anytime a man say hi to you, you instantly frown up your face. I'm a married woman and I don't frown. How you doing? And keep it moving. You open the door. Thank you so much for opening the door. And that's it. But y'all, a man look at you and you just, for no reason. And then, why don't nobody want to talk to me? Because you look crazy. That's why. Why my husband ain't never home? Because you talk to that man crazy. I wouldn't never be home with your behind either. In the quiet is when the Lord deals with you. Okay? And some of us women are afraid to some of us women are afraid to be alone. Hold on. Just had that very thing happen to me, and it was a straight turn off. I don't blame you. Like, why do I want to get to know you when your attitude is so stank? Because if this is what you're presenting up front, I know there's more where that came from. Your bad attitude should not be your default reaction. I'm not saying all of us don't have bad sides and bad days. And listen, okay, my tongue can get fiery as well. All right. My mom is from the Bronx. My family is from Jersey. I can throw a couple of cuss words together that'll have you crying in your socks. Okay. But that is not my deep. You know how deep you got to dig? You didn't have to used to dig that deep. But all praise to the Most High and thank you to my husband. You got to dig pretty deep to get that reaction out of me these days. That's not my default reaction. Okay, but this world that we're living in has so many women just sitting on go, sitting on ready. I hate to say it because y'all know I love reality TV, but these reality shows, I blame them for that because it's full of women with attitude. Why Boaz on your right. It's full of women with attitude. Doing nothing but sitting around and arguing and hollering and yelling all day. And let me tell you something, ma'am, sis, cousin, like if your spirit is not at peace, you don't need to be taking that kind of stuff in because it's just going to add to it and add to it. And in the moment you have an opportunity to go off on somebody or get turned up, that's what you're going to do. And I'm telling you, the power is in you being quiet. Y'all out here talking about, oh, I'm waiting for this from the Lord. I'm waiting for that from the Lord. I need the Most High to move in this area. I need the Most High to move in that area. Why I don't have this like everybody else? And why I ain't got that like everybody else? I told y'all a bunch of times, there were months when I came home close my door. It me, my Bible, and the Most High. And I'm just digging, trying to figure stuff out. Trying to figure me out, trying to deal with me. Even when I was married, there were times when it just had to be me and the Most High, dealing with me, dealing with my regrets. Listen, all praises to the Most High for a husband, but there are some things that you and the Most High have to deal with personally. Or you know what's going to happen? Your husband is going to outgrow you. Your husband is going to outgrow you. What do I mean by that? Because yes, your husband is your head. So yes, he should be a little ahead of you. Spiritually, my husband is my protector. Don't get me wrong. I know how to pray. Now, it's one gift I really believe that the Most High gave me. I know how to pray now. At the drop of a dime. Okay. No problem. Hold on. Let me get Dad on the phone. No problem. But I will still go. Listen, if I'm sick, the kid's sick, even if I'm dealing with something in my spirit that I don't know how to deal with, or I just can't seem to get it off me, I go to my husband. Babe, can you pray for me? Babe, can you pray for the kids? And I'm telling you, like that, it's done. Like we're not dealing with it no more. And I'm not just saying that to hype my man up. I don't get on here to lie to y'all. No, when it's a struggle and I can't get that prayer through, I go to my husband and he get the job done. If you refuse to let the Most High deal with you, you will become a handicap to your husband instead of a crutch. You will be the broken leg instead of the crutch that he's able to stand on when he needs to. You know what I've realized about marriage? When you really think about a picture of it, it really is two people leaning on each other. It's two people back to back leaning on each other, right? Because sometimes he needs support. Sometimes I need support. But if we're always there to support each other, nobody's leaning to the side. Nobody's feeling left out. Nobody's feeling. And I'm not saying you won't have days where you feel like you're doing it all and you're holding it all together. I'm not saying there won't be days, weeks, months like that. But in general, it should be a picture of you two supporting each other so that you are both standing straight up. Right? Because how can you help me if I got you pressed down? Now you can't see what's coming. You can't help me. You can't pray for me. Same thing on the other side. How you expect your husband to go out here and fight the world and he got to come home and keep fighting your crazy, dealing with you and your demons that you refuse to deal with? Am I saying I'm perfect? Absolutely not. I will admit to y'all right now, I'm a little insecure. I am. My husband knows it. I'm a little insecure. So I'm not trying to come to y'all as like the perfect wife who got it all together. No, but I've been through enough to know that there are some things that are just essential. I've been through enough to understand that some things aren't on my husband. It's not always up to my husband to reassure me because he's not causing my insecurities. This is some stuff that I'm dealing with from kiddydom that's still affecting me now. And so for me to feel like it's my husband's job to solve this would be foolish. No, there's some stuff that I got to deal with within me. I got to lay myself before the Most High. I got to turn off that TV. I got to get off the phone, turn off the iPad, get away from the social media, put it down for a minute, and just get in his face and figure out what's going on. But a lot of us don't want to do that because, again, you don't want to deal with even the thoughts of the things that you've done in the past. I was going to say you don't want to deal with the consequences of your actions, but it's not even just that. You don't even want to deal with thinking about it. You're not willing to go back and unpack that traumatic thing that maybe you got yourself into. I've told y'all multiple stories about me being at the wrong place at the wrong time with the wrong person. And what happened was nobody's fault but my own, because I knew I had no business being there. I'll talk to you about that multiple times. And as a result, yes, I've had to sit down and unpack that stuff and figure out, why did I do that? At what point did I mess up? And how can I prevent this from happening to me again? But you're not willing to do that. And you're wondering why you can't move ahead. Why in the world would the Most High send you a good man when you're not willing to do the work to make yourself a good woman? Why? Why would he send one of his best and his brightest to you? You won't listen to him. And here's another thing y'all don't realize about marriage. Listen, baby, Mams's cousin, if that man is not, if his heart is not for the Most High and his ear is not sensitive to the Most High, do not marry him. Because a lot of times the only mediator between you and your husband will be the Most High. Especially when you're trying to walk in the truth of the Bible, because unfortunately, a lot of our parents, grandparents, whatever, were not raised in this truth. They were raised in Black American Christianity. And as we know, Black American Christianity is a lot more liberal when it comes to marriage and family. What do you mean by that? How many female evangelists do you see now? How many women out here calling themselves pastors and bishops? Women. Calling their husband the first gentleman. Women. In the Black American church. Teaching and lording over men because they the bishop. And that's what I'm saying. Black American Christianity is so liberal. And hear me, I'm not saying a woman can't serve in an office, but you should be serving under your husband. I'm never going to be Pastor Miss Mono. Not unless for some reason my husband decided to make me like assistant pastor. It's never going to be Pastor Miss Mono. It's never going to be Bishop Miss Mono. And it ain't never going to be none of that. That's not order. But we've gotten so far away from any sense of order, decency, and decorum that it's just like, whatever goes. And when you're walking in the truth of the Bible, you understand that that is not what the Most High intended. He established his order for a reason. And I'm going to say this. If you are not fully walking in that order, it won't make sense to you, nor will you see the reward from it. You can only see the reward from obedience when you are walking in it and exercising it. It's all good to sit here and say, yes, my husband is the head of my household, but is that how you walking out your life? You want to buy a brand new car, your husband say, wait. You going to wait, or you going to finesse and finagle your way to get that brand new car? No matter what he says. I did something. What did I do? I came upstairs one day. And so like our refrigerator has an ice maker on it, right? But there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 people in my house right now who all need ice in their drinks, especially the boys, especially Paxton and Atticus, y'all favorite. They need ice all the time, right? So there's hardly ice in the refrigerator. Whenever I go, you know that empty sound. It just makes that sound. No ice come out. So I was like, boo, we need I said, when I get my spending money, because I had did some shirts and I was going to get some money for it. So I was like, all right, when I get some spending money, I'm going to buy an ice maker. And my husband was like, you're not going to use your spending money to buy an ice maker? Don't do that. So in my mind, he was telling me that the house finances could pay for it. The way our finances is set up, we have joint accounts. All of our money and stuff goes into our joint account, and then I get money that I can spend, however I want to. So I was thinking like, okay, well then I can pay for the ice maker out the joint account. So I went on Amazon. Matter of fact, it was during Amazon Prime deal days. Went on there and bought the ice maker. So the next day when my husband's looking at the bank account, he's like, what's this charge from Amazon? And I was like, well, you said not to use my spending money to buy the ice maker. He was like, well, I wasn't saying to get it right now, blah, 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 blah. And I was like, but you said, in my mind, when you said don't spend your spending money, that led me to believe that I could use the other money to pay for it. My bad. And he's like, no, I think you did it on purpose. He's like, you like to ask for forgiveness instead of permission. And now, yes, back in my day, yes, I totally believed in forgiveness over permission. But I'm not like that now. Like, honestly, that wasn't my intention on this. Like, I really thought he was saying, that I could buy it. Okay, but he let me keep the ice cream. But hold on. Oh, let me get to this question. Like, share, subscribe, turn on your notifications so you know when we go live here at the House of Mono. Share it to your friends. Help me get in the algorithm, please. Hold on. Wait, let me get to this question. The big question is the woman fit for the man's agenda? Absolutely. That is the big question for the man to figure out. That's my favorite quote. Listen, I love it. Like, back in my day. But a lot of y'all operate like that on purpose. A lot of y'all will just do it and be like, oh, well, what he gonna do about it? Oh, well, what he gonna do about it? He can't divorce me. What he gonna do? He can't put me out. What he gonna do? I'm gonna spend this because I want it. And as a housewife, I get why a lot of women don't want to be a housewife. Okay. My aunt was a housewife when she first got married. She'd been married for 40-something years now. She was a housewife when she first got married. And she told me the story of what made her go back to work. She was at home one day and she had asked my uncle for some money to go to the store. She's like, let me get a couple of dollars. I want to run to the store. And he was like, for what? And she said from that moment on, she was like, never again. I'll get my own job and, I won't have to ask him for nothing. And I'm not going to say I don't have moments where I feel that way. Okay. Mainly because it's hard to go from not having to ask for money to having to ask for money. And let me be clear when I say having to ask for money. It's not like my husband is holding all the money hostage and I have to go with an itemized list and beg for a couple of dollars. Absolutely not. Like if I need something, the kids need something, it's something for the house, by all means, I can get it. But when I'm saying have to ask for money, it's for the frivolous things that I want to do, like buy big hoop earrings. You know what I'm saying? Stuff like that. That's what I mean by having to ask for money. Okay. I am not in any way condoning financial abuse. Like I'm not condoning that. That's not what I'm saying. I'm not saying that at all. I'm talking about spending money for ridiculous things. And so it's hard from having to ask, from having to not ask to having to ask. But when you can see the forward progression of your husband's financial discipline, then it all starts to make sense. You know what I'm saying? It all starts to make sense. Oh, no problem. Listen, I'm here trying to help y'all. Selah, Israel, Shalom, and Shalom. Thank you for joining me. Yeah, I'll be trying to help. So yeah, that can be hard, especially as a housewife, because you like, now, I'm not just sitting here twiddling my thumbs. I do get up and contribute every day, da-da-da-da-da. But again, when you see the forward progression, you should be able to be like, oh, okay, that man had a plan the whole time. Unfortunately, a lot of us won't let the man get to that point because you're so concerned about keeping up with the Joneses and how you got to have this like everybody else and that like everybody else. And another thing I hate about influencers, making you feel like, oh, your life could be like this if you had this, and all your friends would think you were beautiful if you had this bag, and if you could drive this car, then you can make videos like this too. And I'm just here to tell you that it's a bunch of cap. It's a bunch of cap. You don't know these people. They could be going broke buying that stuff. You don't know these people. And instead of us being willing to put our heads down and possibly have to look broke for a few months, a few years, was it Ludacris that said long time ago, you have to be willing to live like the majority of people wouldn't for a short amount of time in order to be able to live like the majority of people couldn't for the rest of your life. What do I mean by that? Listen here, y'all. When we first started these businesses, my nails wasn't done. I ain't had no products for my hair. Like, there was no extra nothing. It was rent and bills and food, and the kids need stuff. There was no extra. It wasn't no spending money because there was no money to spend, okay? We had to work up to the point where my husband had spending money to give me. All right. And it started off small. Look, $25 here, a little $50 there. But then it kept growing. You know what I'm saying? Now I don't have to ask to get my nails done now. I go every 2 weeks. I keep a standing appointment. As soon as I see they need to be done, pure, I'm off with my husband's blessing. But we had to work to get there. And here's what I want you to know. My work didn't just start when I got married. My work started years before that, when I got on my knees and said to the Most High, listen, I want to be married. And I was honest, Lord, I want to be married. And if marriage is not for me, if that's not what you have for me, then take the desire away. But it never went away, okay? And so I just went through a period of just, what do I want out of life? How do I want this to look? Like, how do I even know what to look for in a husband? Because now, mind you, I had not seen a marriage that I wanted. I'm going to put it like that. I'm not saying that I hadn't seen married couples and was like, oh, that's nice. Oh, they're so sweet. Da, 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 da. And I may have seen elements that I would have liked. But as far as to see people living a life that I could look and say, oh, I want this life for myself, I had not seen that. So it was a lot of, I hate to say soul searching, but that really is what it was. All right. To the point where I had to be willing to leave everything behind and also be willing to be lonely if I had to be. Like, you say you want a thing, but how hard are you willing to work for it? You say you want the Most High to take you to the next level in your life, but how hard are you willing to work for it? Are you willing to turn down the plate and fast? And I know that is one of the hardest things. Now, some people have a gift when it comes to fasting. Some people can fast with their eyes closed, honey. They can do 3, 5, 7, 10 days like it ain't nothing. I'm not very, no. Fasting is a struggle for me, okay? But I put forth the effort, all right? And so are you even putting forth the effort? Like, are you even trying? Do you even try? You know what? I switched out this chair thinking it wasn't the other chair, and it was. Anyway. Again, are you willing to try? Here's an even bigger question. Are you willing to pull yourself out of, separate yourself from worldly friends, worldly activities, and let me be clear when I'm saying worldly, because I'm not saying you can't never go to the club. I'm not saying you can't never go to a party. You can't hang out. That's not what I mean. I mean the things that are a detriment to you. You know you have a problem keeping your legs closed. So perhaps you should stop going to the club. And I'm going to be honest with y'all. Like, when I was single, I was never one to just be at a club without a man. Because I felt like that's what everybody was there to look for. Like, once you sit back and start looking at stuff, you start figuring out things have a purpose, right? And people say, oh, I'm just going to the club to have a good time, blah, 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 blah. And that's fine and all. But in my experience, the majority of people there are there to find someone to sleep with that night. I'm not saying everybody, so please don't be talking about not me, not me, not me. I'm not talking about everybody. There have been times when I went to the club with like my cousins or a group of girls or whatever, and we had fun. Cool. But other than that, like, I've never been that, you know what I'm saying? I'm not, for what? I know what y'all want. What I'm doing here. If you know you have a problem saying no, then maybe try group dates instead of single dates. If you know you have a problem saying no, then you drive your car to the restaurant, let him drive his car to the restaurant, and then when it's over, you take your tail home. Like, if you say you want to progress and you say you want to grow, there are steps you're going to have to take that a lot of people around you are going to laugh at. They're not going to understand. They feel like you're doing too much. But let me assure you, 5, 10, 15 years later, not even, listen, it ain't even going to be that long. 2 to 5 years, okay? 2 to 5 years. Them same people going to be coming to you talking about, girl, how did you do it? How you get a man like that? How y'all build them businesses? How y'all get this house? Look at your kids. You know, how can I have a life like you? The very same people that didn't understand, the same people that said you was doing too much, the same people that said you was taking it too far. They'll come to you like, well, put me on. How can I be down? What did you do? How you get a good man? How your life like this? If you want what everybody else has, then keep living like everybody else is living. But if you want something different, if you want something more, Mary Lou Perez, shalom and shalom, sis. Thank you for joining me. Make sure you hit that like button on your way in. If you say you want something more, then you have to be willing to do more, okay? It's just like on social media. And this is one of the most annoying things ever. But on social media, you have to be willing to keep the content coming, or you're never going to grow. You can't just get on there and be all lackadaisical about it. You have to be willing to put out the content, to be consistent with the content in a way that is not what everybody else is doing in order for you to see success. I don't know why we can apply this. We'll apply it to school. We'll understand, like, okay, if I want to be successful at school, I got to put the time in. I got to study. If I want to be successful in my career, I got to put the hours in. I got to go to work. We'll apply that to every area of our lives except for, like, our spiritual life and our personal life. And it's time we have to realize that these same principles apply to every area of your life. What you put more into is what you're going to get more out of. And even when it comes to putting more into yourself in your future, listen, investments take time to mature. This is not the GameStop fiasco where you can convince a bunch of people to buy a stock and then you buy out before everyone else does and get rich quick. Life does not work that way. You have to be willing to invest and put time in and put bricks in and cry some tears and right some wrongs and make some phone calls and apologize. And listen, I know some of y'all be like, well, that's what the Day of Atonement is for. Ma'am, sis, cousin, apologize right now. Don't wait till the next Day of Atonement. Only the Most High knows if you or that person is going to make it. Atone now. And I don't like when people, well, I repented. So that, no. You offended that person. And here's what gets me. It be people of the Most High committing the most offense when your main job is supposed to be winning souls. I become all things to all people for the cause of Christ. Your main job is winning souls. But instead of that being your focus, you out here worried about everything else. What this one got, what that one don't have. Trying any way to tear someone down. Could you imagine standing in front of the Most High and he pull up a post where you was just talking raggedy to somebody, or even a conversation, a roll of video where you was just coming out your neck crazy and sideways, and now this person's blood is on your hands because you've offended them. And you might be like, well, that's not my fault. Why am I responsible? Listen, you the one out here calling yourself a servant of the Most High, ain't it? You the one out here telling people you in the truth, ain't it? Changing your name. People don't even know your real name, can't hardly pronounce your Hebrew name. And that's all well and good, but how are you living? Are you living a lifestyle that is edifying the walk that you claim to be walking? Or are you out here giving all the rest of us a bad name? Because I'm going to tell y'all something. Some of y'all Israelite women, y'all teetering the edge. Y'all is walking a fine line there. I see you with your head wraps on. There's no reason your boobs should be all up in the camera, though. You might got your head wrap and your fringes on, but I don't need to see. We don't need to see all that. Put that away. I don't understand sisters feeling the need to post all these selfies and full body photos. For what? Why are you posting full body photos showing your figure? For what? And see, this is what I be talking about. Y'all be feeling like, oh, well, my dress is down to my ankles. Yes, ma'am, but it's painted on. Yeah, it's down to your ankles and you got on fringes. But honey, if you eat another piece of rice, the dress is going to pop off you. Modesty is not just about long skirts and fringes and head wraps. It is about the way you carry yourself. I'm not saying that sisters can't post selfies, but there's no reason we need to see your whole body in all these different twisted and contorted positions unless you out here advertising. And that's what some of y'all be doing. But did you forget that the whole point of modesty is to keep your brothers from lusting? Did y'all forget that? It's to help your brothers stay in righteousness. Y'all not making no sense. But then you want to condemn other women for what? Ma'am, don't talk to me about nothing until you pull your together. And I'm not saying I don't dress scantily around my house for my husband's eyes only. Either you gonna walk it like you talking or just stop talking it. Just stop talking it. I would rather you just kind of go into hiding until you get yourself together than to have you out here offending people in the name of the Lord. And if I wasn't grounded in my relationship with the Most High, like if I was looking at some of y'all For leadership, I would be sorely disappointed and probably have left the faith by now. And it's not so much what you do in the public. It's what you do when you think the public ain't looking. It's what you do when you think nobody's watching. What about posting your face only? I don't see anything wrong with that. Like, I don't see anything wrong with a selfie, your face, whatever, You can't help that, of course. I'm not saying that women shouldn't be online. I'm not saying that. That's not what I'm saying at all. No, show your face. Absolutely. But all the other, y'all know what y'all be doing. Let me see exactly how much I can get away with. And then as soon as a brother say something, instead of you, and here, listen, I know it's a lot of militant, overly zealous men who really just take any opportunity they can to come down on Israelite women. And it is very, very disheartening, especially when you're trying to live right. Like, honestly, some women can't even have a conversation online without some man coming in and, sir, what, nobody even talking to you? What do you have to do with this? You know what I'm saying? But there are times when I have seen brothers lovingly and respectfully try to correct a sister, and she just mind your business. And here come her little minions. Wasn't nobody talking to you, da-da-da-da-da. And then I just come to find out that there is a big lesbian movement in Israel. Lesbian women walking around calling themselves truth-believing Israelites. What is this? Y'all are no better than the Christians who you talk about all the time. And you're even worse because you claim to be more enlightened. If two 5-year-olds are in an argument, that's totally understandable. These are two 5-year-olds. But the minute my 17-year-old jumps in the argument, it's like, well, how old are you? Ain't you supposed to know better? And that's the thing. You claim to be the one that's enlightened. Aren't you supposed to know better? And now I fully believe that I'm forgiven for misleading people into American Christianity because I didn't know better. Okay? But I'll be ding dong duck darn if I sit up here and mislead somebody in the truth. That is what I'm not going to do. And I don't know if maybe it's because some of y'all skip church, but it's like the fear of God is just not in you. It's not there. Like y'all. You are who you were born to be, I guess. That's all I'm going to say about that. You are who you were born to be. Like, share, subscribe, turn on your notifications. If you like something I said or you like what we got going on here at the House of Mono, please head over to the Cash App, $ the House of Mono. I thank you in advance. If you're going to give, if you've already given, I thank you so much in advance for that. Let me get to the comments. Oh, Angelina, shalom and shalom, sis. Thank you for joining me. And so I want to encourage y'all, like, especially those of you who are looking for more, who are asking the Most High for more, who are trying to figure out what's next. You may feel like, okay, me and my family are on the brink of something good, or I'm on the brink of something new. Like, I really feel like I'm going somewhere. So first and foremost, I want to encourage you to stay focused. Do not lose focus on your goal. Distractions will come, but remember, it is just a distraction. And this is where the power of being quiet comes in, because you do not have to respond to everything. You don't have to respond to everything somebody says. You don't even have to respond to everything somebody does. Keep your eye focused on the greater goal. One thing I had to learn, and it took me a while to get this, is the way that people react to you is not about you. Okay? You think it's about you because you're the main star in your movie. Like in your life, in your movie, you're the main star, as you should be. Like, this is Ray Shanette's life. I'm the main star here, okay? But Susie down the block is the main star in her movie. I could be an NPC in her movie, for crying out loud. So if Susie down the block, we both outside walking our dogs, and she roll her eyes and don't speak to me, that ain't got nothing to do with me. She might be going through something at home, or you know what I'm saying, whatever. That has nothing to do with me. I'm not going to take it personally. It took me a long time to figure that out and to really let it sink in my head. And I'm not saying it doesn't still bother me when I feel like why you don't like me? What did I do? I'm not saying it don't still bother me, but it don't bother me like it used to, and sometimes it don't bother me at all. I'm like, okay, well, I just know you got something going on, so you go over there with that. But I want to encourage you to develop your own plot. Develop your own plot and start cutting characters from your movie that don't line up with your script. The Most High will let you know. And I don't like when people be like, oh, I asked God to remove people from my life and my friends left. First of all, you sound retarded, okay? Secondly, it don't take much for this generation to consider somebody worthy of being cut off. And y'all throw that word around, like y'all just some cold-hearted ice box gangsters out here. And the fact of the matter is, y'all ain't cutting people off like talking about. You not. You be kikiing with them on the phone, laughing at their Facebook posts and all this other stuff. So stop talking tough like, oh, you don't need nobody and you ain't got no feelings. That's not true. We're not made to live that way. This is just what you have decided to condition yourself to in order to survive this world that you currently find yourself living in. And when I say world, I mean your thought process, your pattern, your portion of the world, your portion of life. But let me tell you that very same world that you find yourself in now, it can change. Okay? There was once upon a time in my world when I had to worry about paying rent and paying bills and how I was going to make it to the next month. That is not in my world right now. We don't worry about bills in my world right now. All praise to God. Okay? So, don't feel like you're just like at a dead end. You're never at a dead end. As long as there's life, as long as there's breath, there's hope for things to get better and hope for things to change. But I'm telling you, if you're not willing to put yourself in a position to hear from the Most High, however you feel that you hear from him, if you're not willing to pull yourself away from the world and pull yourself away from people who don't mean you any good, then you are going to stay trapped where you are. There are people who are just looking to ride your coattail. I was listening to an interview that Sherry Shepherd did. I don't know if y'all remember her, but she was on The View. She's been in a couple of movies. She's funny. I like her. But she was doing an interview about her ex-husband. And I don't know if y'all know the story, but they had a baby. Her and her ex-husband had a baby with a surrogate. It's not her egg at all. It's the ex-husband's sperm and the surrogate's egg. But her husband wanted a son. Sherry already had a child, and her child has special needs, right? So she's working, taking care of her child with special needs. She got him in private school, therapy, all this other stuff. So the ex-husband's like, well, it's not fair that you have a kid and I don't have one. When Sherry made it very clear, no, I don't want to have another kid because I don't want to have to deal with a special needs child again. Okay? So, trying to go along with the husband, she was like, okay, well, you want to have a baby, we'll have a baby. They wind up splitting up while the surrogate was still pregnant, I believe. But she is still paying child support for that child. When the baby came, he told Sherry, well, you're going to have to look for some more work. And he was a children's book author, but he hadn't worked in a while. And she was like, well, what do you mean I got to look for more work? Ain't you going to start working too? And he's like, no, I'm going to stay home and take care of the kids. And she was like, well, wait a minute. I wasn't looking for a house husband. Some of y'all got house husbands in the making and you just don't know it. Some of you have people in your life right now who are just looking to live off of you and you don't know it. I went back and watched Ballers on Netflix, right? And there's this one character, I cannot remember his name. There's this one character in the movie. He's like one of the main football players, and he's like bringing his whole entourage with him, and he's going broke because of it. And as a matter of fact, the main dude that's supposed to be like his assistant or whatever keeps interfering in his affairs and almost winds up ruining everything. These are the kind of people that the Most High is trying to get you away from, but you're so afraid of silence and loneliness that you won't let it happen. So much so that these people will dish you, dang near try to destroy you, and you will turn back around and kiss their behinds for some acceptance. You will beg them to let you in their lives, and they mean nothing for you but death and destruction. They're jealous of you. They can see the potential that the Most High has put in you, even though you can't see it. And how do I know this? I'm telling you because I've lived it my whole life. When there is a gift and a calling on you, there's nothing you can do about it, but the people around you know it. And it's hard to accept. It's hard to accept when you're not average, but you have to deal with average people. I mean, I'm not trying to be like demeaning or anything like that, but it's hard. And it's not until I began to accept who I was supposed to be that what people said about me really didn't bother me, and it kind of started to make sense. And I pray for you to get to the point in your life where you can look back on things that used to hurt you, look back on things that you thought would just be the end of you, and you can see like, okay, that makes sense now. I can see why I had to go through that. Some of the things I had to go through in life are only so that I could sit here and encourage the next sister. Now, I'm not saying that about everything I went through in life. You know, I try to keep it a buck with y'all no matter what. Some of the stuff I went through in life is stuff that I put myself in. I can admit that. It's situations that I put myself in. Okay, but I can still bring the lesson to you. You know what I'm saying? Some stuff was not of my doing, and I still had to suffer the consequences. But my thing is, you've got to get to the point where you're willing to say, okay, whatever the consequences may be, let them come. But I'm tired of being where I am right now. Y'all say y'all sick and tired, but you're not sick and tired. Because if you were sick and tired, you wouldn't be talking to that man on the phone. Them people wouldn't be able to find you. You would block them from phone, from social media, and from anywhere else that they have access to you, because you mean to be serious with the Most High. If you really mean that thing, you will have no problem cutting certain people off. There are people who have come back and tried to be friends on Facebook, and I will not allow it. No. Nope. No. I want no part of your element in my life, not even on social media. Here's what y'all need to understand. A vessel of destruction will find a way to destroy in person, online, whatever. I'm going to say that again. A vessel that is set for destruction will find a way to destroy. If they are set for destruction, for your destruction, That is their life goal. That is where their switch is flipped. And I don't care if you see this person being pastor so-and-so in the next 2 or 3 years. That person is not for you. I just had to tell my daughter about this guy. And she was dating him for a few weeks or whatever. And then he turned around and was messing with another girl. And like just I saw him on the phone, right? Like she showed him to me on the phone and he was like, hi, how are you? Blah, blah, blah. And I told her, I was like, he's too charming. Something not right about him. He's too charming. Watch him. Right? So this was before she found out about the other girl. So come to find out there's this other girl, but he's still trying to talk to my daughter. Right? But the way he's trying to do it, I'm trying to think of what exactly happened. I don't remember exactly, but basically he was trying to run game on my child, okay? And one thing you're not going to do, you're not going to run game on my child and think I'm not going to tell him about it, okay? So I had to explain to her that once you've reached a certain age, once you've lived a certain amount of time, you begin to recognize spirits when they pop up, okay? And what you will realize is that you keep running into the same spirits throughout your life. They may be clothed in different faces. Some of them is rich, some of them is poor, some of them is fine, some of them is ugly, whatever. It's the same spirit in different bodies, okay? So after a while, you start to be able to recognize that thing as soon as you see it. And I recognize the spirit of destruction in this young man. And I told her that he is going to destroy some woman's life. Oh, I know what it was, okay? My daughter broke up with him for some weeks, okay? And he's just been playing like he's just so distraught or whatever. And my daughter, from what she's telling me, she's not really feeling him. Like she's been going out with other guys. She's been taking other dates, as she should. She's a 21-year-old college student, okay? She getting ready to graduate. All praise to the Most High. She did it in 3.5 years, okay? My baby getting ready to graduate in December, an honors student. Like she's doing her dang on thing. She's supposed to be having fun, and for the record, I'm not talking about sleeping around. She's still a virgin, okay? All praises to the Most High for that. Okay? But as far as like hanging out and taking dates, she's doing that. And so, of course, he's upset now because that's what a bum do. They get mad when they see that you moved on from them, even though they don't want to treat you right. So this man is at home so emotionally distraught that his mother calls my daughter. He had his mother, even if he didn't directly ask for his mom to call her, the fact that he is at home carrying on to the extent that his mother called my daughter, let me know exactly what kind of spirit she was dealing with. That is manipulation to the highest degree. That is the kind of man that will leave you with a baby and walk away claiming that he can't emotionally handle it. He's going to be too weak to emotionally handle anything. And now here's the kicker. Here's the kicker. He's a finance major, okay? This man made like over $50,000 just on an internship this summer, which all praises. I love to see a person successful, and that's great for his career. But as far as his personal life, it is going to be in shambles. And I know y'all might be like, well, how you know that? How you know? Listen, baby, listen. When you lived long enough and you've seen enough, Malka, Shalom, and Shalom, okay? The man, Mama Claw, really? You had this man's mama, and I'm going to tell you how I know it's manipulation, because I've seen it firsthand before myself. I've seen it. I've been the person making the phone calls at the prompting of said, I'm not going to say no name, but at the prompting of said individual. Call him and tell him I'm over here crying and I can't talk and I won't tell you what's wrong with me. I've seen the manipulation happen. So I know what this is. You're not going to convince me that I'm not seeing what I'm seeing with my naked eyes. I might not have 20/20 vision, but I can see what I'm seeing. And this is what I'm saying to y'all. Stop falling for the same spirit over and over again. Whether he got on Calvin Klein or some Levi's, stop falling for the same spirit. I don't care if it come in a Bentley, a Hellcat, a Chevy, a Ford. Stop falling for the same spirit that is meant to destroy you. I don't care how many kids you have. If that is not your husband, stop sleeping with him. I don't care how much you love him. If that is not your husband, stop sleeping with him. And if he does not want to deal with you, if you are not sleeping with him, all the more reason to kick him to the curb, in the gutter, and into the sewer if you can. Listen, you're not about to change a man, and I keep telling you this. The only reason a man is going to change is because he wants to. Every time. Nothing is going to be different. It's the circle of manipulation. Let's call it that, the circle of manipulation. What do I mean by that? Y'all meet, y'all go on a couple of dates, y'all start sleeping together, y'all fall in love. You catch him with another chick, y'all stop talking for a few weeks. Here he come back around calling you, he, ha, ha, ha. Y'all go on a date, y'all sleeping together again. Here you go in the same circle, boom. You catch him with another chick, okay? It's a circle. You're never going anywhere. You're always just going to be... I know a woman, she was a mistress for 5 or 8 years. It wasn't 10 years. I know it wasn't 10. The man was married to somebody else and she was a mistress, had a baby for this man and everything, right? He break up with the wife. So she finally thinking like, ooh, it's my turn. Now, mind you, they got a child together. Her and somebody else's husband got a child together, okay? She finally thinking, ooh, it's my turn, right? No. What he do? Go and marry somebody else. Went and married a whole nother woman. And she's still sleeping with that man to this day. Don't clap for that. She's still sleeping with that man to this day, okay? So I'm telling y'all, stop wasting your time. Stop being afraid of being quiet and alone. That is where your growth is going to happen. That is where the Most High is going to move on your behalf. When you are willing to say, Lord, none of this matters as much as my relationship with you. And I'm telling y'all right now, for those of y'all who are single or who want to be married, do not even think about getting married until you know you got that line of communication open with the Most High. Because baby, that is when you are going to need it the most, honey. I'm telling you right now, if you can't get a prayer through, you're not ready to get married. If you cannot get before your face and talk to the Most High, don't you do it. Don't do it. I know y'all might be thinking, oh, I'm just talking. I'm telling you from personal experience. You are setting yourself up for failure. You don't even know how to seek the Most High to see if this your husband or not. And that's how... Anyway, y'all, we'll talk more about that next week. That's been my time. Thank y'all for hanging out with me. I enjoyed y'all so much. Again, if you like something I said, you like what we got going on here at the House of Mono, please head over to the Cash App $, the House of Mono. $1 or $2, 20, 50, whatever you got will do. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. Malka, Angelina, Mary Lou, Jacob Wake Up, Selah Israel, Avaya Righteous Nation. Thank y'all so much. Anthony, Life with Jamila. I appreciate y'all. AJ, the House of Jarwar, Leah, my awesome husband. I will see you guys on these content creator streets. If you are not following me on all your favorite social media networks, IG, TikTok, Facebook, please come on over to Miss Mono's World. It is lovely here. We do wonderful things. We have a mini farm with chickens Falcons, all that good stuff. I will see you in these content creator streets. I will see y'all here next Thursday, 8 p.m. for more Why Boaz Don't Want Your Ass. Shalom, I love you. Good night.
Got a little wisdom, boy, you peep these grades. Giving out the knowledge on the stoop these days. One time for the men doing cane thing. Dead fresh to the T, living super clean. 3 times for my foe that came up. 4 times cause the man can't control up. 1 time for the men doing cane thing. Dead fresh to the T, living super clean. 3 times for my foe that came up. 4 times cause the man can't control up. Yeah, real man. Sheesh. Yeah. Doing gang things.
Mono.
Living super clean. Daddy came up.
One time for my king doing king things. Mom these hoes cause he know he got a good thing. I submit and I cook and I clean and I never hold back on that wop, I'ma let it rain. Made me honest, I got a ring. All praises to the most high, let it sing. A real man able, sister never came. And I ain't going nowhere, this is not a game. Look at you, girl, you lonely right now. Settling for bums instead of men the most high. He provide and protect, so he get our respect. And he